Hi yogis, my name is Heather. Today we're going to be doing 60 minutes of myofascial release, and we're going to be focusing on the front of the body today. So everywhere from the tops of the feet to the ankles, the shins, the knees, the front of the quads here, even a little bit into the belly, the pecs, the upper chest here, and then even a little bit of the neck and face. So today you will need the toted therapy balls or 2 tennis balls in the end of a long sock. Have a blanket handy. If you have a Coregeous ball, grab that. If not, we can use a rolled up blanket. If you do have the alpha ball at home, it's not necessary, but I'll give you an option as to when we can use it. Have a couple blocks or thick books, and then maybe a bolster handy or a couple pillows, but just depends on anatomy and how our body's feeling today if we're actually going to use that or not. Okay? So we're going to actually start on our backs. And you are either going to take your blanket and roll it up pretty firmly, yeah, or use your Coregeous ball, okay? So to start, it's going to go right underneath our armpits. So the rolled up blanket is going to come across the mat, either right underneath your armpits, or if you have the Coregeous ball, you're going to go ahead and place that right in between the shoulder blades, right? And you can let the head fall back. Right? So either one is totally fine. They both do the same action, just a different prop. Okay. And notice if you need a little support under the head. Right? If neck and shoulders are a little cranky today, then you can put a blanket or maybe even a pillow underneath there. Right? Spread the arms wide. Either spread the legs wide or let the knees bend and the feet take the floor. Right? So we're just noticing how the front of your chest feels, any sensations along your belly or even the front of your hips. Right? So noticing the entire front line of your body. Does the front of your neck have a little sensation? Or does it feel comfortable? Letting the breath start to slow as it starts to get a little longer. Paying particular attention to the exhales. Soft through the jaw and the muscles of the face. And for our pranayama, for our breath work today, we're going to have an equal part breath. So equal parts in and out. Sometimes starting with the number 4, or if you're used to this type of breath, maybe a 5 or 6. Right? But I'll lead you through it starting with the number 4. So just take an easy breath in. Easy breath out. Inhale through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep continuing with that cycle, those rounds of breath, counting at your own pace. Not having any anxiety or tightness or tension as you fill up. Just finding that even rhythm in and out. An aspect that can downregulate the nervous system. Take us out of that fight or flight mode that a lot of us tend to live in. And this in and of itself can help to soften the front body, right? Just relaxing or releasing tension, letting the breath come in through the belly, the ribs, the chest, right? Just finding a little more space there. You get about 3 more rounds, breathing in and out with that equal part breath. Whenever it is that you come to the end of your third round, just take an easy breath in and release it on the exhale. You can go ahead and roll off the ball or the blanket, and you're going to slide it down underneath your lumbar spine, right? So for most people, the ball is going to be a bit much in that back bend. So you can take your rolled up blanket and slide it right underneath your low back, right? So the hips are still on the ground and the shoulders come to the ground, right? So just accentuating that curve of the low back, right? And you may start to feel different sensations in the front of the body or even the hips, right? Again, legs can be extended, knees can be bent, whichever is going to feel more comfortable in your body for right now, right? Maybe letting the eyelids close. As once again, you just find that even part breath. We're taking a little bit longer to integrate into our bodies today, but that's because we are covering an entire plane of our body, right? So really taking a moment on this as your check and recheck, right? To notice how this front plane of your body is feeling. Where is there sticky spots? Where can the breath flow freely? And then get about 2 more rounds of that breath. All right, wherever you are on the blanket or the ball, you go ahead, bend the knees, let the feet take the floor. Press into your feet and just move the blanket or the cordless ball down underneath the hips, right? So it's almost like you're in a supported bridge, just hips on a blanket or the cordless ball. Now, as long as it's comfortable for you, I want you to extend the right leg out in front of you. Right? Just noticing any sensations along the front of the right leg. Maybe point the toes and flex the foot. Right? Maybe you windshield wiper the toes left to right. Just noticing where those sticky spots are, where that sensation starts to get a little greater. Right? And then you can bend the right knee, put the foot on the floor, and then extend the left leg out. And same thing, take a breath or two just with the leg in stillness. And then point the toes, flex the foot, maybe windshield wiper the left foot. And if it's comfortable for you, you can extend both legs, right? Otherwise, bending both knees, putting the feet on the floor. You get about 3 rounds of that equal part breath. The count of 4 or 5 on the breath in, and the count of 4 or 5 on the exhale. All right, as you're ready, bending the knees, let the feet take the floor if they aren't there already. And go ahead, lift the hips, slide the blanket or a ball off to the side, and let the sacrum melt down. Right? Extend the legs long, reach your arms overhead, and just feel the space that your body has. Right? Or feel the sticky spots, the restrictions. Right? And then guide the knees into your chest, give yourself a squeeze. And then bring yourself up to a seat. Right? And one more check and recheck we're going to do is sitting on a nice and tall seat. Just look up so you're extending the front of your throat, right? And then chin down towards chest. Inhale as you look towards the ceiling. Notice the sensations, any sticky spots. And then exhale, chin to chest. Find a neutral space. And then we're going to come onto our shins. Okay, so starting at the very top of the ankle, you're going to need at least one block, maybe two, and then maybe a blanket. Okay, we're going to take the blue-toted therapy balls, and they're going to go horizontally across the block, and the block is going to run the long way down your mat, right? So I'm going to come to hands and knees here. Sometimes it is more accessible if you have the balls on a chair, like a armless chair, and you can do the same thing when you're standing, right? So you don't need to be on hands and knees if knees are a little sensitive. Most of the time, I like to put a blanket under my opposite knee just so my knees aren't super uneven, right? But you can make that decision for yourself, right? So the left shin is going to come right in the nook in the bosom of the balls here, right? And then just like we do when we start with the feet, you're going to start to strip. So moving up and down, right? And you can play with where the ball needs to be positioned to, get the most real estate in, right? Moving up and down. May need to shift a few times to get all the way up to the knee and all the way down to the ankle. And then we're going to pause at the ankle. So really getting the ball right in that ankle crease. You're going to want the foot hanging off the edge of the ball, right? Because then you're going to point and flex the foot. So pointing and flexing the left toes. Okay? And you control the pressure. You control the weight that's on the shin. Maybe circle the ankle in one direction and then in the opposite direction. All right, then you're going to come back to that stripping motion, maybe moving more towards the middle of the shin. And then find a space along the middle of the shin. Now, really sinking weight into that left side, you can even, if you want more sensation, take the right shin and like hop it up on the left. For me, that's a bit much, so I like to play with just the one shin on the balls, right? But really leaning in. And once again, pointing and flexing the toes. And circling the foot in one direction. And then in the opposite direction. Right? You can even kind of windshield wiper your knee left to right so the balls don't move anywhere. It's a pin and stretch where you're pinning down the tissues, the muscles, and you're moving the tissues around it. Okay? And then just start to shift your weight left to right. So getting to the outer shin and the inner shin. All right, come back to that stripping motion, front and back, push and pull. And then we're going to land closer to the knee, right? So not on the knee joint, but really fairly close to the knee, right? And same thing, you're going to lean in, so lean to the left. Finding a little stillness and compression, right? So soft shoulders, soft jaw. And then point and flex the toes, right? Notice what sensations pop up. Can you find that equal part breath that we had in the very beginning of class? And then circle the foot in one direction. I never realized how underappreciated the muscles in the front of the shin are until I work on them, right? And then go ahead and circle the foot in the opposite direction. Right? You can always feel free to load the right leg on top of the left for this one. And then we're just going to twist, right? So pin and spin, putting pressure on your left shin as the balls stay put. You're just moving your knee or your ankle, whichever makes most sense to you, left to right. You're going to come to some stillness and just start shifting the weight left to right. So outer shin, inner shin. And then once more, we're going to find that stripping action. You can even have your hands on a bolster or some blocks, right, to bring the floor a little closer to you. Okay. You get about 3 more breaths here, so any lingering movements that you need to make or any, spots you need to revisit. All right, then you're going to come off the block, off the balls, and just sit on your shins for a moment. Notice the difference from right to left. Maybe a little more ease, a little lightness, a little more space in the left. All right, and then we're going to come and do the exact same thing with the right side. So you know kind of where we're going. So you might set yourself up a little differently if you think something might be more accessible. Maybe on this side you need to go to a chair, or maybe you decide to have a bolster out in front of you just to bring the floor a little further up to you. All right, so again, the balls are horizontally across the block going up and down your mat the long way, right? So right shin comes into the very center of the balls, and then you're just going to strip up and down, up and down. Getting up towards the knee, getting down towards the ankle, taking stock of what's happening on this side today. Could be different than what was going on in the left side, right? All right, getting right in that nook of the ankle and letting your foot hang off the edge of the block here, right? So take a moment, just really put some weight onto that ankle, onto the balls, and then start to point and flex the foot. So we're on the right side, but if you did the right side first, you'll be on just whatever side you didn't do, right? And then spinning the ankle in one direction and circling the ankle in the other direction. And then come back to that stripping motion, up and down, north and south. Finding a spot in the mid shin, right? Foot still hanging off the edge of the block. And you're going to compress some weight into it, right? Hang out in some stillness, soft shoulders, soft jaw, full breath. Okay. Point and flex the right foot. Circle the foot in one direction. And then the opposite direction. All right, this time we start to spin or swish the knee right to left, so pin and spin. And then shift the weight from right to left, so inner and outer. Soft shoulders on this one, maybe even opening your mouth wide as you exhale. Okay. And then go ahead, come back to that stripping action, north and south. North and south. Right. Eventually finding your way up a little closer to the knee, right, below the knee joint. Compress in. Soften shoulders. Relax where you can. Big breath. And then point and flex the foot. Notice what comes up, where the sensations are. right? And if you're on a spot and it's painful to be there, just move the balls a little bit, right? North, south, east, or west a little bit, right? Moving around the spot where there's pain. We never want to roll on pain, right? And so then circling the ankle in one direction and the opposite direction. Go ahead, start to spin the knee left to right. Our pin and spin motion. The balls don't move anywhere, or move very little, I should say. The balls, they always kind of move. And then come to that still space where you're just shifting right to left. Right? So not spinning, just shifting. Shifting the weight, kind of like a cat treads. All right, come back to that stripping motion, north and south, up and down, up and down. All right, you get about 2 more breaths. And then go ahead, come off the balls, come off the blanket, sit on your shins. Sitting up nice and tall, let the weight fall back onto the heels if that's comfortable. And just notice the space, notice the difference. All right. So before we get to the quad, we're gonna do the knee a little bit. We're gonna roll the knee. So 2 ways you can do this. With the balls toted, you can take the balls and just manually roll over the knee, right? Always the option to do things manually. This is a lot less pressure, right? And especially if you're dealing with knee issues, this can actually feel really good, right? Just the manual work. If you want a little bit more, once again, you can come to hands and knees, and then you just roll over the knee, right? So it's that same push and pull action, but you're rolling over the knee joint. So the knee cap is actually coming in between the balls, right? So push and pull. You control the pressure. You can be on hands and knees, or you can even do this manually. It's not a huge movement. It is getting just below and just above, right? So you got 1 more breath on whatever side you're on. And then we'll just take it to the opposite side. So same thing, either hands and knees, or you can come to a seat and roll the balls over your knee joint manually, right? So it's not a ton of pressure. The joint itself, the kneecap, is actually coming in between the balls. And just a little roll, north to south. All right, go ahead, come off the balls, and we're gonna come onto our bellies, right? So you can take 1 ball out of the tote, and if you do have the alpha ball, you can grab that instead if you'd like to use that instead of the blue therapy ball. I like to use the blue therapy ball for most of it, right? And if you have the Coregeous ball, it's nice to prop it underneath your belly just for a little support for your low back, but you can always take the rolled up blanket and do the same thing, right? So the blue ball or the alpha ball is going to come to your quad just above your knee, right? So it's not on the knee joint itself, it's on the meaty portion just above the knee. So coming to your belly, blue ball just above the knee, right? It's kind of in the opposite sequence that we do it in normally. I normally start at the hip joint, but because we started at the feet, we're going to work our way up, right? So tuck your toes. Start to move north and south, right? Just a bit. You're not moving up the whole quad. You're just maybe an inch or 2 in one direction and then the next. And then you're going to come to some stillness. Keep the toes tucked, and you're going to contract the left quad. So reach out the heel, and then on the exhale, I like to untuck my toes as I do this, but you're going to let the entire quad relax, melt it down, right? So inhale, I like to tuck my toes and reach out my heel, contract the quad. Exhale, let it melt. And then once more, breathe in and out. Good. Bend the knee, extend the leg. Bend the knee and extend the leg. And once more, bend the knee, extend the leg, right? You can keep the knee bent, and you're just gonna windshield wiper the shin or the ankle, whichever makes most sense to you, left to right. So getting to inner quad, outer quad. The ball is gonna roll across the fibers, so we're cross fibering here, right? It's not moving it's not moving north to south, it's moving east to west, right? And it's okay if the ball moves out of space and you have to kind of like reach down and put it back into place. It's a ball, it rolls, right? So knee out and then knee in, right? Find one spot where there's like a little more sensation, and then bend and extend the leg, right? Whether the knee is in or out, that's totally up to your body. All right, come back through center. Extend the leg. Let the entire quad relax. Big breath in. Long breath out. All right, now we're gonna bring the ball up towards the top of the quad, right? So that meaty portion just below your like underwear line, really. Let's tuck the toes and start to strip north and south, right? I like to use the cordless ball underneath my torso because it helps me roll, helps me move a little bit, right? A little less intensity on the shoulders. All right, go ahead. Come to some stillness. Reach out the heel as the toes are tucked. Big breath in. Exhale, melt the entire quad to the ground. You're going to roll up a little bit more. Inhale, reach out the heel, tuck the toes. Exhale, melt it down. Good, and once more, breath in. And out. All right, bend the knee. Breathe in. Extend the leg. Relax the muscles. Inhale. And exhale. And breathe in. And out. All right, okay, bend the knee. And you're going to windshield wiper that shin left to right. If you're not getting quite enough sensation for you, you can start to move the knee out and in, right? Just depends on where you want to be at. Controlling the effort and sensation that you experience, right? The effort and pressure you put onto it. Finding that one spot where it's a kind of, great sensation for you. And go ahead, bend and extend, right? Not all sensations are great, but it's not a painful sensation. You just know there's something that needs to be worked out there. All right, come back to center. You can bring the ball out from underneath you. Bring the cordless ball or the blanket out and just lay flat on your belly. Let the heels fall out to the sides. Notice how it feels from right to left. All right, now we're going to bring it to the other side. You can just put the ball right underneath your right quad. I'm just changing direction so that you can see what side I'm on. Right? All right, so cordless ball or blanket underneath the belly. Your alpha or yoga tune-up ball, right above the knee joint. Right? We're going to tuck the toes and just start to move north and south. This can also be done manually if being on your belly is uncomfortable. Same way we rolled it over the knee, you can use your hand to just roll it up and down the quad, right? Lots of what we do can be done manually, and it feels really good when it's done. And go ahead, come to some stillness. Reach out the heel as you contract through the quad. Exhale, melt it down. Soft shoulders and jaw. Right? Inhale as you contract the quad. Exhale, feel it relax. And once more, breath in and out. Go ahead, bend the knee as you breathe in. Lengthen the leg as you exhale, right? Feel the muscles melt like butter. Inhale and exhale. And breathe in and out. All right, bend the knee, and you're going to start to windshield wiper that shin or foot left to right. Getting outer quad, inner quad. Notice how they feel, all those areas that we don't normally get to, right? Even if you stretch a lot, right, you're not getting to every single vector of every single tissue or muscle. This really is like flossing for your body, right? Getting into all those small spaces. Right? Find a space, needs a little extra attention, bend and extend the leg. Big breath, soft shoulders, soft jaw. All right, come back through center. You can move the ball up to the top portion of your quad, right? That meaty portion just below the underwear line, right? So tuck the toes, start to press front or north and south, right? Stripping. Again, it's not a huge movement, just maybe an inch or two in each direction. All right, go ahead, find a still space. You're going to contract the quad as you reach out the heel, tuck the toes. Exhale, melt everything down. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. And last one, breath in and out. Good, bend the knee, extend the leg. 2 more with your breath. All right, here's where we start to bend the knee as you bring the shin left to right, right? Maybe the thigh starts to move with you. Getting to inner and outer quad. Cross-fibering all those tissues, all those muscles running from your hip to your knee. Finding your one spot, and then extend and bend the knee 3 times. Nice and easy, pinning and stretching. Good, come back to a neutral space. Move the ball out, maybe the blanket or gorgeous ball out from underneath your torso, and melt your body down. Heels out, toes in. Feel the space. And hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself back to your child's pose. Notice how the tops of the feet, the shins, articulate to the floor. Maybe there's a little more space or less pulling in the front of the knees or the hips. Big breath in. Long breath out. All right, so next we're going to get into the abdomen or the belly, right? And so 2 ways to do this. You can have your rolled up blanket horizontally across your mat, right? And then you're going to come to lay down so the belly's right on top. If you have a gorgeous ball, right, you can lay the belly right on the corageous ball. Now, the corageous ball is kind of grippy, so if you want, you can lift up your shirt so the skin actually touches the corageous ball, right? So corageous ball or blanket right underneath your belly, right? And you can stay propped up on your forearms, especially if you've just had lunch or dinner, right? It can be a little uncomfortable to have something into your belly. Okay? So soft shoulders, soft jaw. If it is comfortable for you to lay flat, you're more than welcome to. Okay? Lots of deep abdominal muscles here. Also getting into psoas and maybe even touching upon the QL. Right? The psoas, runs from the spine through the pelvis to the leg. And it's one of those muscles that once it starts to shorten, it's like when you see some old people, some elderly people, hunching forward at the hips, right? That's a shortened psoas muscle, maybe in addition to other things. But, when older people are hunching or hinging forward like that, that's definitely something to be looked at in the psoas or the hip creases, right? All right, and then you're going to bring your right knee up outside your right hip and then extend it back, right? So we're going to come side to side. So left knee up outside your left hip, extend it back, right? Almost like a baby is crawling, right? Breathe in as you bring the knee up outside the hip. Exhale as you bring it back, soften the belly, right? Breathe in and out. One more time each side. This is our pinning and stretching, right? All right. Maybe if it's comfortable for you, let your head come down to your forearm, into your hands, and then take a breath in. Press your belly into the ball or the blanket, right? And then on the exhale, soften everything. Feel your body melt into the ball or blanket. Right? Inhale, press your belly into the prop. Fill up. Exhale, melt it down. Right? And once more, breath in. And out. And then if you've been with me before, we do this on our back sometimes, but you're just going to start to almost wiggle like a little snake. So turning your torso left to right. So we do this on our back sometimes with the ball at our upper chest, bringing our elbows to our hips, right? It's almost like you're trying to bring your left elbow to your left hip, right elbow to your right hand, right? Pin and spin. Getting all of that goodness opened up. All right, go ahead, come off the ball or the blanket and lay your body flat. Take a big breath in. Open your mouth, sigh it out. All right, now you're going to need your 2 blocks and both balls out of the toe. So both therapy balls out of the toe. Now we're going to come into the chest and the pec region. Okay? And so this can also be done seated manually by just taking ball in one hand and rubbing it across or holding it down, letting the arm do the movement that we're going to do, right? So it can be done both sides like that. If you'd like to do it on the floor, my blocks are going to be like this, right? So a little closer towards the front, a little wider towards the bottom, because I'm going to end up coming face down on the blocks, right? And so balls are going to be on the blocks. You'll need to adjust it based on your body and where is going to be comfortable for you, right? So coming down onto your belly, the balls are going to go right just to the inside of the shoulder joint, right? So between shoulder and your chest, shoulder and the breast tissue, the ball fits right snug into this little area, right? So you can still move your arm around. So just to the inside of each shoulder joint, shoulder bone, And now if forehead comes to the ground and it's comfortable, stay there. Otherwise, you can place a blanket or maybe even a block underneath the forehead, right? Hands go down by your hips. Let the shoulders roll forward, right? So balls are in between the breast tissue and the shoulder joint. Balls, one on each block. Shoulders rolling forward, letting gravity help you out. So on a breath in, you're going to reach your arms up as far as they'll go. Exhale, melt them to the ground. So inhale and exhale. Breathing in and breathing out. Right, you get two more like that. On the inhale, reach as high as you can go comfortably. On the exhale, you're going to feel your muscles fully melt like butter. Right? After you next exhale, let the shoulders roll forward. And imagine you're doing a snow angel, but you're face down. Right? So inhale as you reach the arms up overhead. Palms come face down. And then as the hands reach back by your hips, palms face up towards the ceiling. Inhale, reach them overhead. Exhale, back down by the hips. Right? Taking your time with your breath. Nice slow movement. Noticing what's coming up, noticing where the sticky spots are. All right, let the shoulder heads roll forward as hands come back down by your hip. Big breath in. And a long breath out. And once more, big breath. Let it go. And hands underneath your shoulders, gently press yourself up to your shins. All right. And you're going to find a comfortable seat, whether that's on a block or a blanket or the floor. And we're going to continue with the pecs just a little longer before we get to the neck and the face. Okay. So ball in the right hand. You can feel the collarbone, right? So this bony protrusion just below your neck. We're going to be working just below the collarbone to just above the breast tissue, right? So we got into the attachment point here. You're going to be taking the ball in the right hand and bringing it over to the left side. So from the sternum, from your breastbone, you're going to be pressing out towards the shoulder joint, right? And just like a typewriter, you're going to bring it back to center. So rolling out and bring it back to center, right? So that push and pull, that stripping motion, moving with the grains of the tissue, right? You can use as much pressure or as little pressure as you'd like. Noticing where those tender, those sticky spots are. Maybe you hang out over it and circle the ball, right? You can also start moving up and down, so that's cross fibering. Keeping shoulders and jaw soft. You got about 2 more breaths here, doing any motion that you'd like. Anything that's feeling good. All right. Ball comes into the left hand, right? If you need to, find your collarbone on the right side. We're working just below that bony protrusion at the base of your neck, right? From the sternum, your breastbone, all the way out to your shoulder, right? So that push and pull. Push and pull. Stripping, going with the direction of the muscle fibers of the tissues. And again, you control the pressure, you control the pace, you can go fast, you can move slowly. You can start to move up and down or in a circular motion. really making this your own, right? Noticing what feels good for you and not just what I'm telling you to do, right? Maybe it's a circular motion. Maybe you want to stay in one spot and just kind of move your arm around that pin and spin. I'm here to just give you the tools, right? And you be the explorer of your own body. So you get about 3 more breaths right where you are. All right, go ahead, let the ball come down by your side. Take a moment in seated, close the eyes. Maybe a roll to the shoulders, just feeling the space in the front body, the openness to the chest. All right, we're going to come up to the neck. We never roll the front of the neck, right? But when we get to the sides, the scalenes, even though that's technically the side body, it can have a lot to do with the sensations we feel in the front of our neck, right? So we're going to be doing a little bit of the side of the neck, and then we'll get to the face and the jaw, okay? So one ball. You're going to bring your left hand over to the right side, right? When you turn your head right to left, you'll feel this big muscle kind of protrude out. This is our SCM, our sternocleidomastoid. We're not going to go in front of that, so not closer to the throat. We're going to start at the SCM and roll back. So the ball, I use the same side hand. Some people like to reach around, use the opposite hand, right? So see which one works best for you. You're going to start just below the jaw, pressing the ball into the neck. You're going to roll the ball back as you look away. Bring it back to the SCM, just like a typewriter. Press the ball. Roll it to the back of your neck as you look to the opposite side. Right? So you can work just below the jaw, all the way down to just above the shoulder. Right? That push-pull. Moving from SCM in the front all the way to the back. You control the pressure, you control the pace, right? You can move up and down the side of the neck, right? You can take the ball, and it's a pin and spin action where you press it into the neck and spin it and let it go, right? We've done that on the pec before. We've also done that on our forearms before. Right? So whichever motion, whichever technique feels best for you. All right, go ahead, let the ball fall down to the sides, look up, chin to chest. And we're going to take it to the other side. So feeling where the SCM, that sternocleidomastoid, is on the left side, right? That big muscle that kind of gets going and protrudes out when you look left to right. We're starting there, moving from the SCM back. We're not going forward towards the throat and the esophagus, right? So pressing the ball into the SCM as you roll it towards the back of the neck, look away. And just like a typewriter, you come back to the beginning and move through, right? From just below the jaw to just above the shoulder. After a few times through of the typewriter motion, maybe you start to move up and down. Maybe you pin and spin, twisting the ball on the skin, right? Whatever feels best for you. Your body, your practice. You get about 3 more breaths right where you are. Any other movements you need, any other areas you want to get to. All right, go ahead, bring the ball down by your sides, look up, and chin to chest. All right, we're going to do a little bit of the jaw on each side and then get the face. And then we're going to, rest in our Shavasana, let that all integrate into our body. All right, so just below your cheekbone, if you feel it on the right side with your right hand, right, you'll feel this probably a pretty tight muscle, right? This muscular point in between your cheekbone and your jawbone. The ball can go right there. Now, where's my other block? I like to put a block on my lap just so that I don't have to like bend down as far, right? It's a little more accessible. So you're gonna lean your jaw muscle into the ball. The ball can be flat in your hand. You can use your fingertips, right? Wherever you are. Find what is comfortable for you. This is really good at your desk, like at your computer desk, or even at a stoplight when you're driving, right? Letting the jaw be soft. And you're just going to open it wide and relax it. Open wide and relax. And once more, open wide and relax. Okay? You're going to shake your head in a slow no direction. And then in the yes direction. And then maybe draw a circle with your nose. You get about 3 more breaths here to do whichever movement felt oh so good. All right, we're going to take the ball up to the temple. Same thing. Let it compress in. Right, and then just start to move your head in as if you're saying no. And then yes. And then drawing a circle with your nose. Okay. If you ever break in between meetings at your computer, this is a really nice one to do. Move a circle in the other direction. Or even right before bed if you can leave these balls by your bed, right? Really nice to downregulate right before bed. Release all that tension we hold in our face. All right, you got about 2 more breaths right here at the temple. All right, sit up nice and tall with the ball. Release down for a moment. And just notice how it feels right to left. The right side kind of feels like it's like hanging so low. There's so much space. Right? All right, you can move the block if you're using it over to the opposite leg. Finding the jaw muscle, your masseter muscle, right below the cheekbone and above the jawbone. I like to put my elbow on the block and lean in. Right? Let gravity help you out with some work here. Just letting your body compress in, or your jaw compress into the ball. Right? Open the mouth wide and slowly soften it. Get 2 more like that. And last one. Moving your head as if you were saying no. And then as if you're saying yes. Maybe noticing how it feels compared to the first side, compared to the right side. And then drawing a circle with your nose. And then in the other direction. All right, you're bringing it up to the temple. Same thing. Letting the weight of your head just fall into the ball. Take breaths in and out, soft shoulders, letting the jaw hang open. Just moving the head as if you were saying no. And then shake or nodding your head yes, I should say. Sending all those sweet little spots. Drawing a circle with your nose. And then in the opposite direction. And you get 2 more breaths. All right, go ahead and release the ball down and come to lay down on your back. Have maybe a blanket underneath your head. I'm going to stay seated so I can show you where we're going, but we did this technique before, so you're more than welcome to just lay down and close your eyes. Right? Really get yourself supported, whether it's a bolster or blanket under the knees, a blanket underneath the head, right? And so just around the face, right? And really anywhere on the surface of your face. The same pin and spin I showed you that you could do on your pack, right? You're gonna take the ball, press it into anywhere on your face, give it a little spin, and then release, right? And you're gonna work your way around your face as you do this, right? So chin, cheeks, jaw, feels so good around the forehead, right? Hairline. Taking your time, right? This is your time to take care of yourself. And really notice how your body's feeling. Notice what it's trying to tell you, what direction it's trying to point you in, right? And so this is why I like to do it when I'm laying down with my head supported, just because it's a lot more luxurious, right? This is definitely something that we all can do as we're laying in bed before we fall asleep at night. Relax all those tense muscles that we use talking and staring and looking around and making facial expressions all day. Right? And now you're more than welcome to continue this as long as you'd like. Right? But a few more breaths here. And if you want to continue, keep going. Otherwise, if you'd like to come into a more restful state for your Shavasana, the ball fall off to the side, maybe arms out to the side as legs are long or knees are bent, feet on the floor. Taking up some space, right? You just created all this space in your front body. Take up the space. Let feet fall to the sides. Take a big breath in and a long breath out. And rest well in Shavasana. And so noticing the rhythm of your breath, giving your fingers and toes a little wiggle. Point and flex your feet. Notice space, sensation, or maybe even lack thereof, right? That was there in the beginning. Maybe reach the arms overhead, point the toes, really feel the front of your body. And on the exhale, guide the knees into your chest, a squeeze, maybe a rock, and roll your body to one side. Ever so slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Still space, eyes closed once you get there. Bring your hands together in front of you. On a breath in, and bow your chin on the exhale. A sign of gratitude for the work your body just did and the space you made for yourself. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Please drink plenty of water. And ending class however makes most sense to you. I bow to you. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you soon.